up? It's Steve from that old Yorkshire Geek. And it's Monday night, which means it's time for me to review Season 1, Episode 5 of The Last of Us. HBO's The Last of Us. And this episode is called Endure and Survive, which is taken from the comic book that Ellie likes to read, which we see in this episode. It actually aired... last night. I thought it aired a few days ago. I don't know. Because last night was Super Bowl night, wasn't it? So I'm sure they aired it early. But it says February 12th there. Never mind. But I never got around to it anyway because I didn't know. So I just got around to watching it today, thinking it aired last night. Maybe it did. I don't know. Right, so this one's called Endure and Survive. So let's get into it. It's a better episode than last week. But it does tie everything up for the last two episodes. You know, it's like a two-parter from last week and this week. And everything's kind of tied up in a neat little bow, and then they move on. It's I don't know. It's like an episodic episode, if that makes any sense. Anyway, let's get it up. So here we go. There's the old HBO logo. Then we go into the opening titles. Who directed this one, by the way? It won't say there, will it? It'll say in this. So this one was directed by, Craig. Is it Craig Mazin? Amazing. I don't know how you pronounce it. I'd say it was amazing because I'd be saying, amazing me. So I'm going to say amazing because it's Craig Mazin. Who I think was responsible for Chernobyl, I think, which was a great series. Bit grim, but great. Right, where were we? Right, so we're off. So, right, we start off and we're seeing, this is Kansas City. Remember last week, Ellie and Joel ended up in Kansas City and Missouri. And we saw Kathleen, who was the leader of the We the People group, who took over Kansas City, got rid of Fedra, the government agency, whatever, that had become like a fascistic entity. So they overthrew them, and it was the people that were in charge. But she was just as bad as Fedra, if not worse, probably. I don't know. But anyway, this is showing. But apparently that only happened recently. I thought it happened ages ago, but it only happened recently. 10 days earlier. But anyway. So here we're seeing what happens. We're seeing... hang on, where are we? We're seeing the people taking over and getting the Fedra vehicles and killing, basically, the Fedra soldiers. And I suppose it's deliberately kind of reminiscent of what we saw in, Iraq and Afghanistan, when, soldiers and agents of the Allies... during the Gulf War and that were captured, and it showed them being pulled behind cars and strung up from street lamps and horrible stuff done to them. That happens in this. There we go, stuff like that. But we're seeing that. So we're seeing how Kathleen came to power. This is Henry and Sam. They're hiding. It turns out Henry was a collaborator, but he had good reason to do it. Whether you agree with it or not, I don't know. He felt he had no choice. But we'll get to that. Right, so it turns out Sam's deaf. That's Sam. That's Henry. Turns out Sam's deaf and there's no sign language, which is convenient, isn't it? Which means they can communicate silently and over a distance. But anyway. I don't think he was deaf in the game. I don't think they did this in the game, did they? I don't think they did. I could be wrong. As I said, I've only played the game once, and it were enough for me. I did enjoy it, but it were it kind of traumatised me a little bit. But I did enjoy it for the most part. There were bits of it that I thought, oh god, because I'm not the best at games, and there's some parts of it that were a bit of a slog for me. Particularly, sections of the game where you have to protect somebody, and you've enemies coming from all sides, and you have to run to different places, to protect Joel or whoever, or Ellie, depending who you're playing as. And it's stuff like that. I don't like that. It does me head in. Anyway, so who's that? Oh, there we go. So we're seeing people. This is after the Federer have been overthrown. These are all collaborators. And Kathleen comes in. She wants to know where Henry is. She says, luckily she's not Federer. So they'll all get a trial. They'll be found guilty. And they'll just go to jail for a short while. That's what she's telling them. But she says if she don't tell them, if they don't tell her where Henry is, then she can't protect them. So one fella pipes up and says there was a safe house. Henry were going to go and see. I can't remember his name. Hang on, let me look it up. Where is he? Idlestein. Is that Idlestein or Eldenstein? Edelstein. Oh God, I can't bloody say it. Played by John Getz, who you may know from The Fly and The Fly 2. So it said he'd go and meet Edelstein, who were the Federer doctor, the fella who Kathleen shot last week. So remember, this is before episode 4. So anyway, this fella tells her what she wants to know, but he doesn't know where the safe house is. They did find it last week, the attic where they had the food, and we found the pictures that were drawn by Sam. But at this point, they don't know where it is. So she says, "Okay, then, thank you." So she goes back outside, and she's talking to Perry. This is Perry, her right-hand man. She says he's asking if they can just hang on a little bit. Do they have to do it now? Go searching the entire city for this safe house for Henry and Sam and Edelstein. So she chews him out a little bit and says, "No, we'll leave it then. We'll leave it, a day or a week or a month." And so he says that she's in charge. And we learn why she's in charge later. So he backs down, and then he says, "You're not going to really put them on trial, are you?" And she says, "Well, no." And then she says, "Just burn the bodies afterwards." So they're going to kill all those collaborators. And I say she's a monster disguised as a soccer mom or a reserve teacher. So there you go. There, the soldiers going in to murder the collaborators. We the people. Right, so here we go. So we see Henry and Sam. They're going to meet Edelstein, which is what they're doing here. There it is. So they're in this attic for a while. It was obviously 10 days, isn't it? Because it was 10 days earlier. And at some point, Edelstein goes out for something. He obviously gets captured, and they're hoping he comes back. Oh, there's Sam's drawn a superhero, because Henry calls him Super Sam. And we see him painting with a big paintbrush. So that's obviously where he gets the paint to put on his face that we saw in the last shot of episode 4. So there we go. He's putting his pictures up because Henry said this place looked horrible, so he wanted to brighten it up with his pictures and his paintings. Anyway, they've run out of food now, and Edelstein's gone out for whatever, and he's not coming back. Henry suspects he's dead, and it is. He's dead. He decides they've got to go. That's when he's telling him that Edelstein's probably being killed. So they're having a hug. So they've got to go and escape. Oh, there he goes. That's it. Putting on the paint. So he's Super Sam. I think it shows us how they came across Joel and Ellie. It's about a quarter of the way through the episode, and we're still not caught up to modern day yet. Modern day. 10 days later. So they're going to go to that tall building, get the lay of the land, and that's when they come across Joel and Ellie. There we go. And that's this is where we're all caught up now. Obviously, Joel is suspicious. Ellie. Anyway, they soon come round and he says, we're not going to kill you. We've got to help each other, blah, blah, blah. And it turns out there's no bullets in the guns. The guns are unloaded. They've run out of ammo. Anyway, so they help each other. Joel gives them some food. I think there's some like jerky to chew on. So there we go. But Joel still doesn't trust them. But Ellie's, she's all for helping people. So they get to know each other. This is where they're looking out over Kansas City, and Henry says he knows a way out. He says he's probably, the most wanted man in Kansas City, and Joel asks him why. He says, well, he were a collaborator with Fedra. So Joel says, I ain't working with no rat. He says, well, you've got to if you want to get out. And he owns up that the guns were unloaded. And we find out, I don't know if it's here or later, I can't remember, that it was because of Henry that Kathleen's brother, who was the leader of the resistance, it was him that gave him to Fedra. So it's because of him Kathleen's brother were executed. So that's why she wants to find Henry and deal her own brand of justice. Right, and Perry tells her later on that her brother, I can't remember his name, was it Robert or something like that? I can't remember. Her brother, didn't do a great deal, but she did. She was the one that led the uprising that got rid of Fedra and freed the city, freed it, in quotes. Anyway, so what happens next? So he's working out the plan. He draws the road, the main highways on the outside of the city, and he says, Kathleen's got them all, guarded. They're all covered, but they can go through the tunnels. A lot of the buildings were built by the same company, and they've got connecting tunnels underneath, so they can go through this building here and come out on the other side of the highways into this building here. And says, then there's an embankment, and we can, then we're home free. But there might be they might be infected in the tunnels. But he says, Henry says, they've all been cleared. Apparently Fedra cleared them about 3 years earlier or something like that. They drove them all underground. Fedra drove all the infected underground. I don't know how, but they did. And then 3 years earlier, they said they went in and cleared them all. So there should be, not as many. He said there might be some, but not as many. But later we find out there's quite a lot. It doesn't really make a lot of sense towards the end of the episode, but anyway. Not to me, anyway. Right, so they're planning, so that's what they're going to do. So here we go. Right, so they're to go down into the basement. That's what they're doing. They've gone down. Gone to I think it's a bank that there's to go to. They go down into the basement. There's big heavy doors because it's a bank. And they're going through, and Joel says, when I say run, run. But they don't come across any clickers. Not clickers, call them clickers, but they're not. Some of them are clickers, are they? But they don't come across any infected. But they do come across, here we go, like a living area, but there's nobody there. So I don't know where the people are. If they became infected, where are they? Why aren't they there attacking them? Or were they cleared out by Fedra? I don't know. But there's still light, so there's still power in this part of these tunnels. So there you go. So I don't know. I don't think that's coming from. I don't think that's daylight coming from above. They look like regular lights to me. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Probably am. But it looks like lights rather than daylight. I thought. Never mind. I thought some infected could come running out of that tunnel, but they don't. So they stay there for a little while. Also, they find the comic book that has the endure and survive phrase in it. So Ellie and Sam are both fans of that book. They've both got a few copies. So that's how they become friends. So they're having a chat about this and that. I think this is where he's telling him about, what he did, and Kathleen's brother. And he tells him that the reason became a collaborator was because Sam became ill. He had cancer, leukemia. Sorry, he had leukemia, and there was one drug that worked. Remember, this is. I don't know how long ago this was, but I presume it's within the last year or so. I should imagine. I don't know, but so this is like 19 years into the infection, the apocalypse basically, and there's still leukemia drugs knocking about. But anyway, Fedra give him the drug to help Sam. So Sam was basically cured of leukemia, but it cost Kathleen's brother's life. So that's why he's number one most wanted. But just like a bit convenient that there was a leukemia drug that worked when the civilizations collapsed. Anyway, here we see Kathleen. That's obviously not Kathleen, that's Perry. But she's basically she's in her old home. It's her old bedroom that she used to share with her brother. And so she's reminiscing. Perry's found her. Says they haven't found Henry or Sam or Dr. They found Eldel. They haven't found Henry or the man that killed the people last week, Joel. But obviously they don't know his name. So she's not happy about that. So she has some reminiscing about her brother. And this is where he tells her, said, your brother didn't free the city, you did. So that's why that's why she's in charge. So they're going to go and carry on looking, basically. So we go back to Joel and Henry and them and Ellie. He says, "Look, we're out now. We're through to the other side." So here we go. So they're walking through this suburb, and Joel won't let them turn the flashlights on because they don't want to, announce their presence. But they're talking quite loudly. But then there's a sniper. It turns out it's one of Kathleen's men. There you go. So they're good running for cover, but he's the worst shots ever. But it turns out he's an old man. They probably never even expected him to find anybody, but he did. So he's shooting at them and missing. We later find out that Joel's a crack shot with a sniper rifle. So Joel decides he's going to go round the back to find out where he is. He sees where they're coming from. A house. It's in the upper floor of a house. So Joel's going to go round the back and try and sort it out. They have to stay there because he can't get them there behind that car. So Joel works his way around, and then turns out it's this old fella, and Joel's pointing his gun at him and says, "Don't, just put it down, and I'll let you go. You don't have to die." But he raises the gun to shoot Joel, and Joel kills him. You don't see it, but you hear the gunshot. So he's dead. So Joel takes his rifle, and then he hears a radio. I think it's Kathleen's voice saying, "We're on our way. Make sure they don't get away." He must have radioed saying, "They're here. I've found them. They're trying to get out." So Kathleen and her forces are on the way. That's where he is. So look, there's trucks coming. So here he starts shooting at the. There's a truck with a big like a snowplow, not snowplow, a shovel. What they call them, like a digger truck, that's shoving all the cars and stuff out the way. So Joel's shooting at it. Here it comes. Look, there it is. So Joel's shooting at at the driver, and he gets the driver eventually. I don't know if it's a he. I think it's a she. I'm not sure. Gets the driver, and it crashes. There you go. Crashes into this house. There it goes. There you go, into that house. And then it explodes in a bit. But all Kathleen's lot come. Oh, there you go. There it explodes. Yes, I should let's see if we can go back a bit. I presume it looks like a practical explosion. Go on, go back. Oh, for God's sake! You see this? I presume I hope it's a stunt person and not Bella Ramsey. But all this flaming debris dropping around. Look. But I presume it was a stunt person. Anyway. So all the soldiers come out now, and Kathleen comes out, and they're calling to Henry. She said, she wants him to come out, and he says, "Okay, I'll come out if you let the kids go," but she won't let the kids go because Ellie were with the fella that killed her men, and Sam were with Henry. So she says it doesn't work like that, but he still goes out with his hands up. But then it all kicks off in a minute. Well, there we go. The truck that crashed into the house and blew up decides it's going to fall into a big hole in the ground. So there must be, what's the word? I can't remember. It sinks into the ground anyway. I can't remember the word now. Never mind. Brain farts as soon as I turn the camera on. Anyway, loads of infected come pouring out of this hole. Are you ready? Here they come. In a minute. Loads of infected. I thought they'd been cleared out. Obviously not. Because they all come out now. Whooping and chirruping and giving it all that. They're all terrified. Here they come, look. They're all running and scurrying and leaping in and out of them big places. So they all start shooting at them, and all hell breaks loose. And Ellie, Sam and Henry, Ellie gets separated from Sam and Henry, but they go under a vehicle. Ellie jumps into another car. It's got a smashed window, so she jumps in to escape the infected. There we go. And a bloater climbs out of the hole, and this is a lot bigger than all the others. It's huge. Don't know how this has happened, but it starts picking up people and killing them willy-nilly. There we go. And they're all shooting at it, but it's not making any difference. And Joel's shooting at it. By the way, Joel's sniping the infected, protecting Ellie, and hitting everyone. Anyway, here we go. And it heads for Kathleen, and Perry puts himself in harm's way, tells Kathleen to run, and he's shooting at it, and he runs out of bullets, and then it picks him up and just rips his head off. There you go. Pops Perry's head off. So that's the end of Perry. So Kathleen's running. Joel's still shooting at the infected. They're trying to get into the car, and one of them gets in, and Joel can't shoot it because it's inside the car. So she gets out. There's Ellie, and then she sees Henry and Sam underneath another car. They're being attacked by the infected. But then they get out, and then they come across Kathleen there. She's pointing a gun at them. She's going to kill them, but then an infected gets her, so they leg it. And then it shows all the infected. They're all going to go pouring into the city, aren't they? You can tell. Look, so that's a good shot. So it looks like Kansas City's done it now. So anyway, so they'll get out. Henry and Sam, and Ellie and Joel, they get out. They end up in a motel, some distance away. So Joel suggests that they're going to Missouri. I said Montana, didn't I? But it didn't. Is it Montana? No, because they're in Missouri, aren't they? They're going to Montana, aren't they? They're going to Montana, and he he invites Henry and Sam to come along with him, and Henry accepts. So we're thinking, oh, right, so they're going to carry on together. But then we learn that Sam's been bitten, as we'll see in a moment. Yeah, he's telling Sam to go to sleep, and Ellie is going to carry on reading the comic to him, and he's asking her if she's scared, and she said, she's never scared, but she's only afraid of scorpions. And then she said, no, she's afraid of being alone. There you go. What's that say? I'm scared. Oh, I'm scared all the time. So that's Sam scared all the time. By the way, he writes things on that little magnetic pad thing that you write and you pull it up and write again. It's they were all the rage when I was a kid. So that's why they're doing that. Oh, then he says, yes, let's go back again. No, I missed it. He asks if there we go. He asks if you turn into a monster, are you still you inside? And then he shows that he's been bitten. He's infected now, look. So Ellie shows him her where she was bitten and that she's special. And she says, my blood's medicine. So she cuts herself. She gets a knife out and cuts herself and puts her bloody hand on his wound, thinking that her blood will save him. That's not how it works. But so that's what she does, and then she goes to sleep. And then next morning she wakes up in a minute. That's where she's telling him her blood's medicine, and she's going to look after him and all that. The next morning she wakes up. Did she sleep in the chair? She must have done. I don't know. But she wakes up and she looks over and she sees Sam sitting on the edge of his bed. And she goes to talk to him. And he turns round and it turns out he's infected. Hang on. There we go. Tell you. Here we go. So I'm going to... Turns round and he goes for her because he's infected. Why didn't he go for her, straight away? I don't know. But he waited for a more dramatic moment, so he's attacking her. There we go. So it comes out, look, trying to bite her and stuff. Henry pulls his gun. He sees Joel's going to go for Sam, and Henry pulls his gun and points it at Joel. But then he shoots. Sam sees them and then starts snarling at them, and Henry shoots Sam, kills his little brother, and then I knew what were going to come. Then I thought, well, that's it now. He's going to kill himself, and he does. That's exactly what he does. Points the gun at Joel, and then he just points the gun at his own head, and kills himself. Now, that's what he's going to do here. Look. There we go. Shoots himself. Doesn't show it, but I knew that would happen. So that's Kathleen's dead, Perry's dead, Henry and Sam's dead. So they're back to square one now. So as I said, it's episodic, innit? Frank and Bill are dead. Just each episode, because this episode 4 and 5 can be classed as one episode, can't they? They're just coming across people who you think might continue on in the story, and they don't. So that's that. So they bury him. There you go, so they're all shocked. So they bury him outside, and then Ellie writes on his little pad, I'm sorry, and leaves it on his grave, and then they set off, and then that's it for the episode. They start heading for Montana. In a minute. I just want to make sure that is the end, because I'm sure it ended here with the set off walking again. Lots of cars about. You'd think they'd find one. Oh, there we go. That's the thing that says I'm sorry. So it's quite poignant because she thought she could help him, but she couldn't. And there she's set. She says which way is west, so he points. So she sets off. Then he picks up his stuff and he sets off after her. And then that's the end of that episode. So they're on the way to Montana. What episode are we on? 5. I don't know how many episodes there is. How many have we got left to go? I don't know. But I think that is the end of that episode. Let's just make sure. It should go to black now. Maybe. As they walk away. There we go. Yes, that is the end of that episode. How many episodes is left? Let's have a look. How many episodes? There's 9 episodes. So, we're getting there. There's 4 episodes left. But I did enjoy that episode. It was all right. Hang on, let's get rid of that. Oh, I forgot to put me Fireflies thing on, didn't I? There we go. I did enjoy that episode. It was quite good. Better than last week's. Although it was a bit conveniently tied up in a bow. Once everybody died, and so they're just on their own again, heading off to Montana. But I suppose the game's like that, isn't it? You come across challenges that you have to overcome. So they're doing that. Oh, pardon me. They did that, and then they're carrying on. So, but yeah, we're okay. I didn't mind it. Next episode, next week, is called Kin. Directed again by Craig Mazin. I'm going to call him that. So, do we meet up with Tommy? Because he's Joel's kin, isn't he? So is it a Tommy episode? Could be. So anyway, so there we go. So yeah, as I said, I did enjoy that episode. I can't remember what I gave last week's. I think I gave last week's a 6 out of 10, didn't I? This one, it was saved, in all honesty, by the massive infected battle at the end. Even though that didn't make a lot of sense, because we'd learned that the tunnels are being cleared, and we saw that they're being cleared. They didn't come across any infected, did they, when they were going through that tunnel? So where did they all come from? And why were they just there where that truck fell through? Why were they just there, ready to come pouring out of that hole in the ground? I don't understand it. But it happened anyway. Oh, by the way, do you like the screensaver? Apparently that's an official PlayStation screensaver. Last of Us 1. But yeah, I enjoyed it. I'd give this one. I mean, for the most part, it wasn't exactly exciting, was it? And I didn't like like a Walking Dead with all the Kathleen stuff. It just reminds me of like the Governor in The Walking Dead and people like that. So I'd give this one a 7. Don't want to go too high, do we? Because it was okay. I did enjoy it, but it wasn't amazing. It wasn't Craig Mazin, but it was Craig Mazin. But yeah, I'll give this one a 7. It was decent. So we'll see what happens next week. Kin is the episode. Is that where we catch up with Tommy finally? Don't know. We will see. So, right, we'll leave it there. Right, so, thanks for watching. Wherever you are in the universe, look after each other. And until next time, we'll see thee.